obviously look at Jeffrey Epstein, ruling class oligarch motherfucker. Who do you guys think are the people who engage in human trafficking and sex trafficking? That is not a working class crime.
Right.
Like, dude, is the average working class man, do you think he can just afford to pay?
Right.
No. This is a ruling class crime. It has always been. Human trafficking, and the thing is with the liberals, they pissed me off because whenever you talk about a global sex trafficking ruling class ring, they will call you the liberal class, the neoliberals. They will roll your eyes at you.
Yeah.
And whenever they roll your eyes, whenever they bring up that you're a conspiracy theorist for bringing up the ruling class sex trafficking ring, my question to them always was, who do you guys think are engaging in human trafficking?
Right.
Do you think it's the average people? No. Look, human trafficking, and for all the people who downplay it, human trafficking is the second most profitable criminal activity in the United States, only behind drug trafficking. You know, human love drugs. So outside of drugs, the most profitable crime you can get into is human trafficking.
Let's get to the bottom of this Epstein case. Now it falls to the left to solve the Epstein case.
Yes.
The anti-imperialist post-duopoly left. I think post-duopoly left is the best way to say it. The post-duopoly left is the only serious people in politics. I'm sorry. I know that sounds very egotistical, but we really are. Like, I think in terms of who's serious and not serious, the post-duopoly left is only people who are serious. The people who claim to be post-duopoly right, the libertarians, they failed, bro. Like, the Dave Smiths failed. You failed, bro. He tried his best to make up for it now.
You know what? I'll be generous here. I'll be the nice guy. I accept his apology. He doesn't have to apologize.
He's not canceled. He's not canceled. Don't get me wrong. I'm not canceling him. You guys know I'm just a shit talker. He's a shit talker too. I'm a shit talker. And if he got a lot of making up to do, he's doing the right thing. Good for Dave Smith for holding Trump accountable. I will say something nice about him. Good for Dave Smith for holding Trump accountable. Good for Kid for grounding me. I'll be a little bit nicer to him today because these are the people who sold this nonsense. These are the people who claim to be libertarians. I told you guys I didn't really take a lot of these people seriously because they fell for the Trump grift again. These are the people who vote for again. So good for people like Jake Shields, for example, who fell for the Trump grift. And like, man, I fell for it, man. I never fell for that shit again. Like, they had the Obama moment. I mean, I had my shit. That was 12 years ago or whatever. But everyone got to have it, right? But let me show this clip because everyone knows the story now. Trump, if you've been in the basement somewhere, Trump and his administration announced that, hey, nothing to see here, essentially. He committed suicide. They won't explain how, because I covered the story. Man's on suicide watch, where they cover you with nothing but paper and a short ceiling. So if Jeffrey Epstein, you guys understand, if he killed himself, we have to reevaluate the human body and biology, right? Because when someone put on suicide watch, you are put in a short ceiling with nothing but paper. So based on what we understand, it is physically impossible for you to commit suicide in these conditions. So if Jeffrey Epstein did something that we think is impossible, isn't it a scientific breakthrough that we should be studying, right?
He's like the David Blaine of suicide.
Like, should all scientists be honest? If you study physics, if you study biology, you should explain to yourself, hey man, I thought we had this program. We literally studied that can you commit suicide in these conditions? And after running many trials, I'm sure they did, we discovered that it's impossible. And then this billionaire fuck pulled off a magic trick and committed suicide under suicide watch when the camera went down while the security guard took an unauthorized bathroom break. So I think we need some more explanation than, nothing to see here. So that's the story in a nutshell. Just to quickly sum up for people who don't know what we're talking about. And this is what I want. This is where I want to start, and then you guys can chime in after this video. I'll let you guys start first because this is embarrassing. This is the nail in the Trump coffin because Trump strategically been avoiding talking about Epstein at all costs. But now the story is too big, and now his anger and his sense of panic was exposed in this video.
He did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein
He's
at
so
a time
mad.
like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
He did work for an intelligence agency. So could you?
Oh, there it is. So I'll let you guys go first because that clip is fucking hilarious. Go ahead, Kian.
Well, yeah, we showed that earlier on our show. I mean, it, as the chatter there said, yeah, seems a little defensive, wants to get out in front of that question. And I don't think he realizes just what an insult that is to his own base. And I think people who underestimated just what a clusterfuck this was going to cause within MAGA, what I think they don't quite understand is that, you know, first of all, just on its face, on a substantive level, a pedo ring with many, you know, underage victims is a pretty despicable thing to just turn a blind eye to, just as like a point of policy. But more than that, it really touches on a philosophical sort of underpinning of the MAGA movement. So much of MAGA views the current political conflict as one of like salt of the earth, traditional God-fearing Americans versus the lizard people, basically. The lizard people being like wealthy, elite, hedonistic, godless, pleasure-seeking liberals. And one of the things that these godless, pleasure-seeking liberals do is they engage in sex with kids, right? And they traffic them around because they're rich enough and, you know, they have no moral core. So that is how a lot of MAGA views the sort of macro conflict. And so the Epstein issue is more than just a political issue. It is emblematic of how they view the liberal class, right? This elite pedo ring is as much a metaphor as it is real. Just like, as I put earlier on our show, in 2016, Trump campaigned on building a wall. Yes, he actually wanted to build a wall. It was a real issue, but it was also a metaphor for the ethos of the entire campaign. If Donald Trump, 2 days before the November vote in 2016, said, you know what, the wall was a bad idea, forget I said it, we're not building it, at that point, the campaign would have imploded because that was the sort of philosophical glue that held the movement together. Mm-hmm. The Epstein case is the same thing here. Like, this is something that MAGA has used to distinguish their followers from the coastal elite godless liberals. So once you say, actually, this thing doesn't exist, never mind, there's nothing to see there, that's devastating. And so when Trump says, hey, I don't know why you're still talking about this, that is a slap in the face, not just to that reporter, because that's who he thought he was insulting. He's insulting his entire movement by saying that. He's basically calling his movement a bunch of idiots who are still obsessed with this for no reason. So it's very damaging. It's very damaging. He's going to have to torture a lot of immigrants to win their hearts back. He's going to have to feed a lot of immigrants to alligators to wipe the stink off of this one.
You know, it is also a fact of, okay, for everyone that's been paying attention, this is a pretty big deal because unfortunately here in the United States, there are a lot of missing children. And, you know, we have all seen the stories of a lot of these Hollywood echelon elite people, be it actors, directors, music producers, CEOs and the Hollywood elite. But then there's also the politicians in Washington, D.C. and their corporate owners. I mean, their donors who, constantly seem to get away with this and have a lot of scandals flying around them. This is a huge slap in the face because for those who were regular people, Trump supporters, they're seeing that their guy has just basically said, there's no black book. There's no conspiracy, but I can remember a certain video that came out thanks to James O'Keefe, and I don't think any of us can play it because you will get hit with copyright and a few other things, where you had an ABC News reporter who probably didn't know she was being recorded saying that they had everything on Epstein. They had the names of people. They had the names of everyone. They had it all there, but they got a phone call because there was a certain member of the royal family that was part of that list. And then in turn, they couldn't interview Will and Kate. And we got to have the people wake up in the morning, see the British royal family, even though we had a revolutionary war to break away from the British crown. So the information's there. Everybody knows. Don't be stupid about it. And if you're a Trump supporter, you need to be pissed off about it because your guy just basically said that something that you are concerned about, that the quote unquote Democrats were covering up too, is going to cover it up as well. It's the same thing, but with a red coat of paint. Everyone should be up in arms about this. Everyone should be looking at this because I want to see what's on that little black book. And I say this as a leftist. So everyone on the right, everyone on the left, we want to see what's in that book. We want to know who the names are. We could speculate and we could give our opinions on who's on that list. But knowing the sick culture that's in Hollywood and the perverse culture that's in Washington, D.C., everybody knows. Everybody knows. Stop it. This is the biggest scandal that we are witnessing here. An entire trafficking ring is being covered up in real time right before us. And the administration is saying that you're too stupid to figure it out.
Well, they say that, and this is the privacy that we talk about all the time. Donald Trump, like, oh yeah, there was a sex trafficking ring. Who cares? Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say that kid even. I say, yeah, I'm on the left. And of course we care about this. But you want to know what's funny? I don't have the clip. I have to find it one day. I saw it on CNN where Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper, one of them, they all blend together to me. One of these motherfuckers was talking, and it was explaining how it was a MAGA conspiracy about Epstein. I'm like, there's not a MAGA conspiracy. You guys see how the ruling class completely warped the Overton window? According to the mainstream political consensus, it's only the right wing who cares about sex trafficking. It's a MAGA conspiracy theorist, as if it wasn't the left wing conspiracies for decades and decades displaying how the ruling class are fucking full with fucking sex criminals, war criminals. But now you guys see how it's been completely changed over, and many people just accept it because people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the progressives, they're institutionalists now. They will never question the Epstein story. It's not Sam Cedar's priority. You know, it's not the professional managerial class priority. So just like with Ukraine, because just like the ruling class say, oh, it's only the right wingers who spreading Putin conspiracy theory. You are far right if you don't want NATO to conquer Ukraine. It's the same thing they're doing with the Overton window. That's an observation. But Keith, I think you want to chime in for free.
Well, yeah, because this is how these battle lines in the culture war get drawn, right? The media frames it, well, you're a right-wing lunatic if you're concerned about sex trafficking. Well, if they repeat that over and over and over again, enough people believe it to the point where it becomes a self-fulfilling thing. Because then a lot of people on the left are sort of intimidated from covering it because they don't want to be smeared as right-wing, right? I mean, I never cared about being called right-wing. Most of us, I'm sure we've all been called that a million times and whatever. It just kind of rolls off us. But
whenever a liberal call me right-wing, I'm like, bro, I want to see the mean production. Shut the fuck up.
Right. So like we never really gave a shit about being called that. That's why we're here. But a lot of people on the left do. And so they kind of get bullied out of talking about it, which creates a vacuum on the left. And then the right wing talks about it. And now, you know, it takes a very short period of time to the point where now those are the battle lines, where it's the right wingers are crusading against child sex trafficking. Again, that's why this is so damaging, because that dynamic became true largely because the media insisted it was. So it became a self-fulfilling thing where, you know, a year or two in after 2019, when Epstein died, that was the divide. The divide was the left was indifferent and the right was obsessed with these child sex trafficking rings, which once again is why Trump spiking this case is so harmful, because this really is a pillar of modern conservatism, even beyond MAGA, but especially within MAGA. Like this is one of the real pillars of the movement. This would be like if one of us were to come on here and say, you know what, I've had a change of heart on Israel Palestine. I think I'm a Zionist now. But, you know, that would just forget it, right? Like that would not be tolerated.
Those bombs mean nothing.
Right. That
Come
would not
on.
be tolerated. Well, this is the same thing in right-wing circles. Like, you can't scream about this for years and then just accept it when Trump says there's nothing to see there. You can't. It's not going to fly. It's a non-starter.
Yeah, and the point I was making as well, especially with the whole thing about the MAGA base being upset. I'm upset that the United States left even allowed the right wing to steal this from us. Like, this is the most obvious class war issue of all time.
Well, yeah.
You guys realize, there's a reason why the left been calling out the criminal capitalist ruling class. You guys know I gotta get into the weeds a little bit with you guys. So, obviously, look at Jeffrey Epstein, ruling class oligarch motherfucker. Who do you guys think are the people who engage in human trafficking and sex trafficking? That's not a working class crime.
Right.
Like, is the average working class man, do you think he can just afford to pay?
Right.
No. This is a ruling class crime. It has always been. Human trafficking. And the thing is, with the liberals, they pissed me off because whenever you talk about a global sex trafficking ruling class ring, they will call you the liberal class, the neoliberals. They will roll your eyes at you.
Yeah.
And whenever they roll your eyes, whenever they bring up that you're a conspiracy theorist for bringing up the ruling class sex trafficking ring, my question to them always was, who do you guys think are engaging in human trafficking?
Right. Right.
Do you think it's average people?
No.
Look, human trafficking, and for all the people who downplay it, human trafficking is the second most profitable criminal activity in the United States, only behind drug trafficking. You know, human love drugs. So outside of drugs, the most profitable crime you can get into is human trafficking. So where's all the money coming from? Do you guys think it's coming out of pure air? That Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted for engaging in sex trafficking to no one? So let me play the video because this is what Donald Trump. This is not a long way of going.
One other thing here too. You know, since Trump said that the Epstein files and that there's no black book or anything else, free Maxwell. There we go. Controversial statement. She didn't do anything wrong.
Boy, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself for no reason. Apparently, he killed himself for no reason because he didn't realize they had no evidence against him. That's what they want. That's what they really wants to believe. So this is what Trump wants to downplay. I have to show this. This is one of the Epstein victims. This is what they don't want us to care about.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on.
But Trump, he wants amnesty. He wants us to forgive it. Let's not talk about it.
I can't believe you're still talking about this.
You guys see how they push harsh authoritarian law and order on the working class, but they have relaxed, laissez-faire interpretation of the law for the ruling class? They want to build a giant police state and lock up Americans and steal our wealth over minor infractions. Meanwhile, when it comes to a sex trafficking ring, Donald Trump is like, And to my point about go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, I put out a couple of memes about this yesterday. But yeah, how does this not, unless you're just a total sicko who just gets off on like the torture of immigrants, how do you still continue to celebrate these immigration crackdowns in the name of law and order when they're turning a blind eye to this? Like, really? He's the law and order president, just telling you there is no elite pedophile ring, or sorry, pedo ring. Yeah, no. I mean, like, at a certain point, like, does this not bleed into other issues? Like, how much can you rah cheer on the mass deportations when they're turning a blind eye to this? They had ICE just go break up a car wash the other day in Los Angeles. Some of you guys may have seen the video. Okay, so you got the law and order president cracking down on car washes and Home Depot parking lots while letting this go. I mean, unless you're just a completely broken person, which a lot of people are in this country, unfortunately, you have to be disturbed at that imbalance.
Yeah, very well. So let me show you guys this. I'm gonna try to wrap up the presentation. There's a lot to cover on this, but this is
Exactly.
you guys know I got to cover this with a class 4 element. Because the liberal class, I've been watching the coverage of this. You guys know I'm a nerd. And the lack of curiosity from Western mainstream journalists should be immediately disqualifying. And it's crazy. They think they're better than us. Ken? The people who their articles get a fraction of the views my tweets do. Right. God forbid Fox News, they get less views on their videos than do dissidents. But they think they're better than us. They got no curiosity at all. Like, I saw the way, like, Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper, and them was covering this. Who knows? It's MAGA conspiracy. Did Bill Clinton rape children? Who knows? Whatever. One of them life mysteries I guess we're never going to solve. Now, here's Bill Gates' wife. Again, I'm telling you guys, who are the people who engage in these crimes? It's not a working class crime.
It's for the rich, but it's always been that way.
Fucking gas station.
It's always been that way since antiquity. Who profits from the slave trade? Who profits from human trafficking? Who profits from all the vices? You realize that it's the king and the queen, the prince, the princess, and all the vice lords and all the popes and bishops. That's who's profiting off of it. And it's no different here now. But I think because we have this idea of this republic or this democracy that there's law and order, when in all reality, there isn't. There's no such thing. It never existed.
Let me play the video and then you guys can respond to it. I'm sure some people probably seen this, but I had to bring this up because I have to remind people that the ruling class is filled with fucking demons with no morals. Period. But let's play the video.
You know, it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not. That was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing. It was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. No.
If you was a journalist,
you knew what he would. No, sorry.
What do you think? Okay, I'll pass right to you. I know you got a lot to say too. Okay, what do you think would be a fucking gigantic story? Someone was asked Bill Gates' fucking wife, like, hey, what was one of the reasons you broke up with Bill Gates? Was it because the kid fucking? She's like, yeah, there's a lot of reasons, but yeah, he was hanging around pedophiles too. That's a gigantic fucking story. But go ahead, kid. Like,
yeah, it's like. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, lady. Because we all know how these rich people act. They all have each other's freaking numbers. You knew who he was even before you put that ring on. I don't want to hear that crap.
That's a good point too.
And maybe I'm letting TV and Hollywood play with my mind a little bit because, you know, they like to amp things up. But all those dramas and TV shows do have that little spice of truth into it on how these rich people act. They know each other's game. They have each other's number. They played her little Game of Thrones. She knew what kind of vices he was into. She was with him for such a long time. You can't pretend you didn't know unless you want to be stupid and be like, I don't know anything, and play the fool. I don't want to believe this. I don't believe this sob story that she's having. I think she knows a little bit more, in my opinion. In our opinion, we can say she knows a little bit more, but they know. She's going to be like, there are many reasons. Well, what are the other reasons? Hello? I want to know.
And these... I gotta be careful here. But
yeah, be careful. You don't want to go
divorcees, bro. These ex-wives, bro, they are vicious because she better be fucking careful what she says. Because if she telling I'm gonna continue the clip. You guys see what she says is extremely damning. If she's telling the truth, or is she just talking shit about her ex? Because you can't just say shit like this, okay, Melinda? So I'm taking her word for it a little bit. But, hey, there is a chance that maybe she's just talking a little bit shit, though. But let's continue the clip.
Divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing. It was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, you know, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
You felt that the moment.
So for one, there's obviously questions I have here. There's a lot of questions we have here. So for one, she said, I made it clear to Bill that I was uncomfortable with him hanging out with a fucking sex criminal. So how did that conversation necessarily go down? Isn't that a good follow-up question to ask? Because that's a big thing to say on camera that, hey, I talked to Bill Gates and I had concerns about you hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein because he's a creepy fuck. That's a fucking big deal. So that means that Bill Gates was approached about this. He understood there was a problem, and he continued to engage in the behavior. Am I overreacting, or doesn't it seem like a bigger story that a lot of people let on? You know what I mean?
I'm wondering, like, of all the times Jeffrey visited the house with Bill and Melinda, right? Well, what was the breaking point? Like, how many times did you have this conversation? I mean, you were okay with his first visit, second visit, third visit, fourth visit. You already knew that he probably was hanging out with him even when you weren't there. Like, what was the breaking point? The 100th time? The 200th time? The 300th time? The 1000th time? I mean, I don't know. I'm shooting numbers up in the air here, guys. But what was it? Now, hold on, because I got to be careful here, too, because maybe Melinda might all of a sudden send a strike team after me, and then that's it. I'm done.
And I love how she says, that it was more than just one thing. What do you mean it was more than one thing? So the Jeffrey Epstein thing, that wasn't enough? So if he was a model husband before that, and he would start fucking kids with Jeffrey Epstein, would it be okay because that's only one thing? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, let's finish the clip. I'll spend too much time on this. This is way more hilarious than I remember it being. Let's continue.
Personified. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, you know, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
You felt that the moment you walked in. I didn't realize
was awful.
That. Yeah. And you shared that with Bill, and he still continued to spend time with him?
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Okay.
But I made it very clear how I felt about him.
What kind of fucking journalism is this?
That's not an answer. That's not an answer.
She had the chance to get a scoop of a... You guys realize this interview didn't blow up the way it should have. She had a chance to get a scoop of a lifetime. She's like, oh, it's let the Bill to talk about it. Oh, yeah, I guess it's okay. That's a giant thing to say because that shows that Bill Gates knew. And he claims he doesn't know, which is fucking bullshit. But Ken, any thoughts?
I mean, the question I would have there is when did she meet him? They said she met Epstein once. Now, Melinda and Bill Gates were married for quite a long time. I don't know exactly when they got married. I'm assuming early 90s, something like that. I know they were together for quite a while. And then they divorced just a few years ago. So did she meet Epstein before his first criminal case, which would have been what, 2006, 2000, something like that? I forget exactly. It was like mid-2000s was the first case, I think. So did she meet him before then and realize he was a scumbag, or did she meet him after those first cases? And then the major sex trafficking case was 2019, and then from there we know what happened. But when did she meet him? Because if she met him before these major charges broke and she got those vibes, see, I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that she got those vibes from him. No, I don't really believe her.
Like one of the comments said, they all sociopaths. There's no like good guy in this scenario here. All these, like the interviewer, the journalist, all of them are bourgeoisie scum at the end of the day.
Right. She's saying I met this guy once. I could tell he was evil personified. well, did you meet him before or after he got busted? The first case was like procurement of a underage prostitute, and then the sex trafficking charges were much later. But there was a period where they must have been married before he was charged with anything. Did she meet him at that time? Because that kind of affects what your judgment would be based on one meeting, I would think.
Yeah,
If it doesn't, and you could just pick up that he was evil personified in whatever 1999, well, that opens up a bunch of other questions.
Yeah, the biggest question I have is, what did that nigga do to make her that damn mad, bro? Because imagine how much Bill Gates pissed her off for her to go on an interview that she knows going to air and drop the Epstein bomb on them, bro. Right. Damn, he must have pissed her off really bad.
She might have caught him in an act. Just throwing it out there, maybe.
That's some ex-wife motherfucker, bro. You really gonna drop the Epstein bomb on them, bro? And that's why she backtracked. I think at the end she realized she went a little bit too far. And she's like, "Oh, I think that's for you to ask Bill. You the one who brought it up." Anyway, this is what Live a TikTok used to care about. It's just the same way that Laura Loomer used to be against the Ukraine war. Now she's all for it because of Trump.
What do you expect?
She was against going to war with Iran. Now she's for it because Trump is doing it. The same with Liv. Look, Trump said he will release the Epstein client list if elected. The Democrat elites are shaking. Are they? Are they though?
No.
Are they really though? I don't know. I'll play the clip.
But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
No.
So if you're able to, you'll be.
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago.
He changes the subject immediately.
They do that for danger too.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw that too, bro. We saw what you did there, Trump. I was trying to tell, to be honest. He quickly, well, I'm gonna look at Kennedy quickly.
Well, I tell you, the Kennedy thing, that's much more interesting than the Epstein thing.
You know what's also hilarious is how the MAGA influencer and propagandists are already trying to get ahead of this because they see how badly this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. Trump ran on the Jeffrey Epstein files and he didn't deliver. So people are upset. Like, I don't think a lot of these MAGA influencers have the gift of gab to really keep their audience. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some diehard people, but for the vast majority of people with a functioning brain, left and right, would be like, no, how come the biggest trafficking ring ever was just allowed to continue on? Because there's going to be somebody that's going to inherit that, or either that it's going to be broken up and that's going to be allowed to function. Maybe not the level that Epstein was running things, but it's you do know that the engine has started again and that the vile abuse of innocent victims is going to continue to flow from DC to Hollywood. And yes, I'm going to mention DC and Hollywood because they're known for that kind of stuff. Okay, they fit the profile. Hollywood is filled with nothing but broken promises and people's dreams where they die, and DC is where dreams go to die. And who is it ruled by? The people who run the show. So for a fact that it's already running. And Laura Loomer is going to say what, the America Party? Like I have my opinions about Elon Musk doing this America Party, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is that the Jeffrey Epstein files were just pushed aside, and we all saw it. They didn't even do a good job trying to cover it up. I mean, at least in the 1950s or something, if they were going to do a conspiracy to cover things up, at least they had some class to make it look like they were trying to do something. This is just like, yeah.
And you see the Zionists are working overtime right now to try to convince people not to care about the story. She has all the Zionists right now are doing their best. You got to see she's trying to mock this new third party that she's fuming about. Actually, looks like the America Party is going to run on the issue of Jeffrey Epstein. You got to see the number one concern to try to make people not care about this damn party. Meanwhile, she's getting destroyed, getting ratioed by MAGA. And then there was Ben Shapiro, and I'm not gonna fucking play it. I think I only gonna play like a little bit of it. I think I'll clip one part out because I'm like, man, I will listen to this shit. Like, bro, there's no way I'm subjecting my fucking audience to this. So I'm gonna show you guys this one quick part here because it's too much, bro. Ben Shapiro's too much. I can't even hate watch him. Like, you guys know I can hate watch a few people. But He's too bad. I can't even hate watch this motherfucker. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
even.
hard.
So let's play. I want to play a little bit of this.
Okay,
But
here
this
we
is
go.
an example of the Zionists doing their best to like, hey, let us see here. Trump already stalled him. We got to trust in Trump, right?
But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list. And he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you want to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying. Because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Of course the Zionist, the Israel first motherfucker, wants everyone to just forget about this damn story. But can anything else you want to add?
Yeah, my friend who also loves Israel couldn't possibly be lying for Israel. Case closed. This would be like, I made this point on our show earlier. This would be like one of us coming on our show and saying, listen, guys, AOC said Kamala is working tirelessly for a ceasefire. AOC said that. Do we really think she's lying to us? Really? I mean, that's what it would be like, right? He's basically saying, no, my friends can't possibly be lying to me because they're my friends. They can't possibly be liars. I, Ben Shapiro, am vouching for their character.
Dude, like the amount of cope here is incredible. But what does it say about their values? That this is something that they don't inherently care about.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get to the bottom of this. And this is why I tell people all the time, my mind been decolonized. I'm not impressed with Western culture. Like, think about all these damn scandals. You have the Catholic Church, massive scandal. You have Jeffrey Epstein and the criminal ruling class engaging in sex cults.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Kids. Like, this is, you guys see the moral degradation of the ruling class, how they're all creeps. These are the same people who want to morally posture over us. They justify not paying you the wage you deserve because you're a lowly worker who's lazy, who don't deserve it. He's just some fucking lowly worker. He's just a fucking burger flipper. Meanwhile, they're the worst people in the world, period.
Yeah. Yep.
The fall of the West. And someone who having a hard time with this.
He looks so constipated. He's like, it's the globalists. They're controlling Trump with a laser satellite. They're doing it.
If you want to know how Alex Jones is doing right now, like these three images sum it up in a nutshell for the most part.
By the way, Keaton, I think you have your evidence that he is doing DoorDash because looking back, that bag looks like maybe delivery food or something.
Yeah. He's driving Uber Eats to pay off the lawsuits. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So there you go.
So the copium from Alex Jones is literally next fucking level.
All of these incredibly prominent people, household names, or they could use the information to blackmail the deep state. I've done deep research, have a lot of contacts, and know Trump's MO. And he's not into kids. He's not into being peed on, and Russian hotels. All that was lies. We know.
So Alex Jones, he looked into it.
Yeah,
This is the slop that you're getting from these MAGA influencers. He's like, guys, don't trust me. I know some people. Man, I know Trump for a long time. Trump, he's not a dealer, man.
Yeah.
He's not a dealer. So this is the code that he's presenting to his audience.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Joe Brown believes that Trump is using the Epstein files to blackmail the deep state to surrender.
Yep. This is great.
I almost couldn't tell the difference between the two.
North Koreans are brainwashed. No one is more brainwashed than Americans. You guys realize Alex Jones is 1,000 times more popular than I am? No one is more bright. You guys think North Korea is worse than this? You guys think Russia? This is the slop that's fed to one of the largest audiences. Like, we're not fucking punching down here. Like, Alex Jones is a gigantic name. This is the slop that's fed to people on the right, and then people wonder why they fell for fell for Donald Trump. But sorry, Kid, I know you want to chime in. Go ahead, Kid. Again, you got to chime in.
Well, I almost had a hard time telling the difference between the two because I know Alex Jones has done a drastic decrease in like body weight and everything, and for a minute there, I thought like that was just like I thought it was like just like a double reaction video of Alex Jones reacting to Alex Jones for a second. So I mean, like, look, because I know AJ's going through some stuff right now, so but I mean, it's like, dude, you attached your name to a politician. Was it worth it? I don't know. Who knows? Was it worth it for him to get involved in it? Who knows? He's still doing his show and everything, but there's a difference between Alex Jones before his case and then after. I think.
Yeah, well, what Alex Jones is saying there is that, and he came up with this theory in his car, in the video that he said in his car, and then he pitched it to Jim Brown or Joe Brown. And the theory basically goes that, yeah, Trump now has the information, and he's using it to blackmail the deep state to get policy concessions from the deep state. And Alex Jones basically says, he's very clever. I mean, this is how the guy has been as successful as he has, because what he's saying is, I don't endorse this. I think it's bad strategy, but that's what he's doing. It's not that he's in the files and that's why they spiked the case. No, it's that he now has the files and he's using it to get concessions over the deep state. The guy has consolidated power to such an extent that even the Supreme Court is just kind of like giving him his way. But yet, he has to blackmail the deep state with the Epstein stuff. I mean, it's so beyond ludicrous. Like you said, Nick, it's just pure slop. Like, it's just junk. But that's what he's going with. And I guess he Venmo'd Joe Brown a couple $100 to come on and validate that for him.
Hey, listen, Joe Brown. I need you to just say, yeah, I agree with this, please, man.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Please, I need somebody there because no one's going to back me up.